Hello there, welcome back. Look what we have. We have a Grey Atom, and then from Grey Atom we have Mayuresh. Thank you, Mayuresh, for being here. All your stage is yours. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much, Santosh. I believe you're able to hear me and also able to see me and see the screen. Just a quick confirmation once again.
Yes, yes.
Awesome, perfect, great. So, guys, it's 1:46, and we are bang in between the lunch break. I am budgeted for 15 minutes. I promise to keep it to 15 to max 20 minutes, and I'll just make sure that it is worth your time that you spend in this particular meeting. Great. So the topic for the day that we have today is talent enablement, making the shift from BI to AI. And when I kind of first came across this topic, I took it across, I shared it with my co-founders and said, what this topic is all about. So it sounded very jargony. It's like, is it like some photosynthesis in Martian climate, and how do you do soil analysis or something like that? So I'm going to make an attempt to simplify this. So here is my attempt. So there is one particular LinkedIn profile, and this person is Reshma, and she was a business intelligence developer, and now she is a data science engineer. She was a business intelligence developer, and now she's a data science engineer. And the reason why we know her is because she is a Grey Atom learner. She has been with us for some time, and hence we kind of know her pretty well. Awesome. So moving forward, I'm just going to make this thing very, very simple. I'm going to say that how did Reshma become a data scientist from being a BI developer? So it is the same topic. I've just made it a little bit more simple, and we'll just quickly kind of snowball from here on. Great, awesome. So guys, I just want to keep this thing short and lively. I'm going to pace through a lot of these things. I know that some of these conferences we want to hear something very earth-shattering, but what I really want to have, is a very candid and honest conversation, and I'll tell you why I can have that. Been working for the last 15 years, been a programmer, done a lot of programming, did my master's from IIT Madras, worked with a few companies across all sizes. 2013 is when I started my own venture. We built out the company, we got acquired by an American company, and Grey Atom is something that I've been working for the last 4 years. Uh, Done a lot of upskilling for learners in retail segment, online, business to business, and have seen people grow, have seen people succeed, and have seen people fail also equally. So possibly I have that secret sauce or the recipe which I wanted to just share with you in this particular forum, that how is that talent enablement really happening across the masses. So this is my journey. So I just want to keep it very light, lively, so that we are able to kind of see how this thing all comes across. Awesome. So we're just going to have a quick flashback. We're just going to go back 20 years, and 20 years right now sounds like a lot. So let's go back to the year 2000. And in year 2000, so what you see on the left hand side over here, this is my journey. This is my journey. And what you have over here in the center column is what typically was happening at that point in time around me. And this typically, I think, for a lot of people who are over here, what was socially happening in general. So this is not like this is not the key or the marquee events those particular year, but just to see how where we were. So it is year 2000. Hera Fairy had just released the first one. I'm sure a couple of more have released after that. Priyanka Chopra had just become the Miss World. Bill Gates had just resigned as the CEO of Microsoft, and 9/11 was yet to take place. To be very honest, so it's a pre 9/11 kind of a world. It's 20 years ago. Uh, 20, 2000, everyone was like, learn Java, go to US. That was like the recipe. We were just coming out of dot-com bust. Things were very different. We were in a recession. I personally didn't feel it because I was a student. I was in my 12th first year of engineering, kind of moving ahead and everything. But again, I had lots of cousins who were in the IT BPO kind of a thing. So the thick of the things were with respect to analytics, data science, where you have a decision support system, CXO command center, and the flavor of the season was Excel modeling, what if analysis, sensitivity, interpolation and extrapolation, Newton Raphson. So these were the things that were in vogue at that point in time. We really were like possibly a pre AWS era at that point in time also. Fractal Analytics had just started in year 2000, and SciPy, the very famous Python package, had just kind of launched. This is really, really back. So just want to kind of have this anchor in your mind that this is year 2000, and we were in the spreadsheets kind of era. 5 year fast forward, Facebook had just launched. year and a half ago. George Bush was in his second term. 2005, we also had 26 July, the massive rain that took place in Mumbai. So a lot of people from Mumbai can kind of relate to this. And of course, I think the super hit movie No Entry had also released at that point in time. So awesome. I was graduating at that point in time from my engineering. People wanted to go over to US, and what did they want to do when they're going to US? They wanted to do MIS, they wanted to do pattern recognition, all your BPO, KPO, BPR, legal process outsourcing, anything that is basically process outsourcing was completely in vogue. And at that point in time, I had got into Sintel, and there were a lot of the hot companies at that point in time which were like, we are going to learn web technologies, we are going to do web technologies. We are not going to work on Unix, we are not going to work on mainframes, we are not going to have some typical legacy product or a platform that we're suggesting. We're going to work on web technologies. That was the vogue at that point in time. And you know what? Another Mu Sigma, another company in the Indian landscape had kind of just started over there. In college, we were doing Stata, we were doing MATLAB. SPSS is something that we heard at that point in time. Another jump, 4 years. I was again graduating. I had a very long kind of a thing. I was working in between also. I graduated from IIT Madras. Lehman Brothers had happened. That kind of happened. I had a brief stint for close to a year where I was selling MicroStrategy. It is a BI tool. So I think that's where I kind of bring some first-hand perspective with respect to BI to AI transition, where I was selling. I was doing the pre-sales configuration sales for the whole BI tool at that point in time. And we were talking about 5 stages of maturity with respect to BI, the reporting mansion, business objects, and those kind of tools were really in vogue. So I was working with one of the channel partners back then with respect to system integrator. We were doing a lot of work for business objects, SAP, and all those kinds of people. So at this point in time, I got into a data science company. At that point in time, it was an analytics firm. And we did a lot of SAS, we did a lot of operations research, heuristics, a lot of econometrics. Damodar Gujarati was a textbook that we used to refer at that point in time. SAS was its prime. We had the SAS user groups, people were getting SAS certified. It was all the SAS time. And this was the year, just to take it back, it is still 11 years ago. Go had just launched Go, the programming language. Just like we have a pandemic right now, H1N1 was a pandemic. This is the swine flu. This was 2019. Bitcoin was just 3rd of January, had just launched. Had some movies coming out again. Awesome. So this is still 11 years ago, like a lot of time. It's like a long time you've seen Barack Obama in office of the as an American president. So that's like still a little long time back. 2013, India had won the World Cup. In 2011, we were kind of the number one team with respect to cricket. R had come into the picture. So R as a language was really in its ascendancy at that point in time. And SAS was like that legacy software, North Carolina based company. It's expensive, it's only free for universities, that kind of a thing. I was in Cognizant, had spent like 3.5 years. I was the engagement manager. I think just like everyone else, they were wanting to send me to US at that point in time. I was cooking a lot of decks, doing a lot of analysis, cooking a lot of decks, shipping a lot of stories, speaking to my on-site coordinator, that kind of a stuff. Did a lot of SAS. R was really peaking at this point in time. And I think the terminology had shifted from MIS to pattern recognition to knowledge process outsourcing to maybe analytics. I think this was really the heyday with respect to analytics as a term. And we were still in the pre-data science era. I think that as a term had really not clicked over there. BI was flourishing in 2005, before that, 2009. I think it was still flourishing. There was no contraction in the market or anything of that sort. It's just that maybe it was not the fastest growing thing at that point in time. But the whole Informatica, ETL, the whole data warehousing, OLAP, OLTP, all those things were kind of, here. But this was really the time when we saw predictive analytics are the tool built by the statisticians really take the center stage and kind of, go all out there. Perfect. 2017. So 2017, I had kind of exited from Customer 360. We were actually trying to build a company in data science space in 2017, and we wanted a lot of natural language processing and natural language generation folks at that point in time. And what we found is that everyone is a data scientist these days. We were really not able to hire anyone at that point in time. The typical CV shortlisting methods really went through the roof. So we really started out building a company where we needed someone in data science, and we discovered that there are not really too many data scientists who are qualified to do production grade stuff, and that's why we actually started with Grey Atom. I think tables had flipped. Python was clearly growing. BI was still flourishing. Um, I think and I think we spoke about the proof of concepts and in-house practice, and those were something like, everyone was trying to hire a head of data scientists, and people were trying to build their practices. And for businesses, AI was the engine of growth. So it's like there is a OTA based out of India, the largest one. They are trying to, like, I have a lot of agents and I want to bring it down. How can I do it? And yeah, so I think just the aside on this particular thing is that there was a movie in 1986. It was called as Nagin, and Amrish Puri was the snake charmer. So I think probably he Python was launched in 1991. So I think he's probably the first one to tame the Python. So I think the first Python programmer, you can call him, in India. So that's just a very silly joke that we have. But yeah, again, I think the point over here is 2017. There was a lot of froth in the market. We were not able to recognize, like, who's the real data scientist at this point in time, and everyone was claiming that they are a data scientist. A real gap with respect to demand. Uh, a lot of salary inflation. People who were really good were getting paid awesome, and the programmatic capabilities of the data scientists were not really there at that point in time. So some major challenges in 2017. Got it. 2020, we are here. Of course, everyone knows what's in the right side. That's basically the COVID-19 situation that we have over here. I am an educator. I'm talking to you guys. We have rationality at this point in time. In 2017, we had people asking for 7 years experience in scikit-learn, 12 years experience in scikit-learn. I mean, the scikit-learn didn't exist that long, but people were asking for that kind of an experience. So I think there was irrationality in the market. I think now there is rationality. I believe salaries have stabilized. Companies are not in mad rush to build any in-house practice. They have realized what is the ROI. They're more ROI conscious about this particular thing. I believe it's off the peak with respect to the frenzy. It doesn't mean that the demand has cooled down. There is a lot of demand. There's a lot of organic, well-established demand, but it's just the mad rush has kind of come to stop. People are learning like never before. I think there is enough social evidence over there. I can tell you from Grey Atom perspective, we've had unrealistically very high number of people enrolling for our programs in just the last 30 days. It's possibly as much as what we've done in the last 15 months. Uh, People are just rushing to upskill themselves at this point in time, and that's just the reality. So, guys, coming to very quickly, and what really the market wants, and I think I can speak at length about all these things, but I'm just going to make sure that I really hit the points hard, and few of them, but really really hard. Market needs practitioners, guys. There is no need for engagement managers. There is no need for on-site offsite coordinators. Needs People need people who are practitioners. People need people who are able to have the breadth, the whole machine learning pipeline. You don't want people who just are specialized in a particular thing, but you need people who have breadth. This is absolutely true from an Indian context. Nonetheless, you need to have your own superpower, one particular thing that you really, really know very, very, very well. You absolutely have to have a capability where you keep on learning and just keep on moving ahead, because I think things are just going to change before you kind of again move on. Awesome. Why do people succeed? It's very very important to kind of just have this particular thing. I'm going to come to the part where how talent enablement is really really happening. How do we know this? We've done enough. We've spoken to enough number of people. That's why we know this particular thing. Uh, this is a secret recipe that we have. It's very very simple. It's not earth shattering. It is very obvious. It is very commonsensical. It is in your face. Structured learning. You have to have practice. No one became a data scientist by watching videos. You have to have people. AI cannot teach people AI. You have to have mentors. You have to have people teach other people how to use AI. Honestly, that's the reality. We need people who can do production grade stuff. That's what the industry wants, and you have to build projects which are not on toy data sets. Ability to learn in teams, ability to work in teams, absolutely super awesome, important. You have to be able to showcase yourself through GitHub, through blogs, all those kinds of things. And again, you get jobs by talking to people, by being there, by being connected. That's like the thing. I can have a whole presentation on just this particular thing, but I'm just going to skip the side by side kind of a thing. Got it. We've seen people being successful. They practice. They practice. That's the thing. They do their pre-work. This is exactly what your teacher told you. This is what your professors told you, and this is what our data is telling us, because this is coming from our platform, and we've seen it in practice. We've seen people kind of get this thing done. People do projects. People do industry grade projects. That's it. That's the simple recipe, simple secret sauce for success. I think it's very important to know why people fail, because more often than not, why people succeed. I think it is more important to know why people fail. So, guys, you have to practice, and people don't practice. People try and do a lot of videos, cramming in a lot of concepts, reading, but they don't practice. You have to reach a point where you're able to practice on your own, and you don't need anyone, and that's where you're able to generate momentum, kind of move ahead. No one became a data scientist in one day, 7 days, 1 month. It takes 9 months. It takes good 6, 9, 12 months to become a data scientist. You cannot have a meaningful career transition before this kind of a thing. And your learning only continues after this. You can only learn something more specific and in depth after this. But to make a pivot, to make a career transition, this is the minimum that is kind of required. Lots more success stories, won't get into any of them. But it's just that getting from a engineering background, getting from a business intelligence, people who are doing all your specific business intelligence tools, SQL, they are the core use case. They are the core constituency, what we are seeing with respect to who are making transition to this particular thing. Guys, great, perfect. Again, you need to kind of reinforcing the point. It's a team sport. Learn in teams. Don't do it alone. Perfect. Guys, 2024, how does it look like? I am almost out of time. It is 2:03. I'm going to be tinkering. That's one thing for sure. These are not predictions that are to be taken for a fact, or for, like, it's in a much more, there to invite discussion. But again, there are some broad trends that we have to kind of, acknowledge. No one really knows what's going to come for us in 2024. With respect to talent enablement, here is the single most tip that I have for the aspirant, and also for the person who is kind of hiring the aspirant. For the aspirant, don't do upskilling, don't do learning because you want your next job. You're essentially changing the trajectory of your career, of your life, by picking up skills that are your lifelong skills, and you are essentially getting on a path where you'll only continue to learn as you kind of move on. So that's the number one tip. The number two tip, I think, the second tip, and the tip for the people who are essentially hiring, because I think in this forum there are a lot more who may be hiring also. The people who are from engineering background, the people who are from typically who's done some sort of a business intelligence, who've done some sort of a statistical work, some sort of a summarization, report building, they are the ones who understand the business value of what this is going to solve much more better. I believe in one of the next sessions we have Nimesh from Rockmetric. I think he'll be speaking about it, and I've interacted with him many times offline, and he always speaks about what is the business problem that I'm solving. And what I really find is that people who are really hands-on with respect to SQL and some of the low-level tools are really the ones who are able to do a lot of justice to this whole thing. Perfect, guys. I think that's pretty much all that I have for today. I think I've just concluded just in time. It's 2:05. So Santosh, over to you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mayuresh. You can stop sharing, and we have one question, and then we can actually end the session due to time constraint. So can you stop sharing the screen? Thank you so much. Mayuresh, you can see there's in the question tab, there's one question from Sonia. If you can address that.
Perfect. So this is a question from Sonia. Thank you so much. So she is CMO, Chief Marketing Officer at a multi-sided platform, and someone who works with the dev team. Awesome. And what can I learn so I can motivate and lead from front? Awesome. So I'm just going to make sure that this response is in 45 seconds, and we can meet socially, and I can help you with a lot more detail.
Please, please.
So one tip, um, you can start your journey to upskill yourself, to start getting hands-on, and really start appreciating the nuts and bolts, because things in the future, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, are only going to get that much more complicated. If you want to lead from front, and you want to lead from front, you want to be able to connect with your team at a very, very different level, where you're able to speak at a business level, at a uh, model level, at a programmatic level, at a mathematical level. You may not have the highest appreciation at the mathematical level or the programmatic level, but you want to do the whole 9 yards, and you want to see how much you can take up from it. We have a lot of people who take up our programs who are 15 years plus experience, and they essentially come from the same value prop, that I really want to be able to lead a team from the front. Our advice to them is same, simple: get your hands dirty, pick up as much as you can. You will be able to lead from front.
Yeah. Thank you so
Thank you.
much, Mayuresh. It was wonderful having you out here. So members, the remaining questions will be addressed from Mayuresh by himself. We are going to make sure that he's going to do it for you later. Okay. Thank you so much, Mayuresh. I think. Thank you so much, audience, as well. We are going to take a 10 minutes networking break right now. You can actually look around and connect with fellow attendees at the social launch. Grab a vacant seat which is available, and you can do video conferencing with them, which is a completely private room out there for yourself. Thank you so much. I will be back in 10 minutes. Thank you. Thank you, Mayuresh.